Hey, it's the publisher here, Mr. Kelly Cole. Listen, if you are a former professional athlete, if you are a former college athlete or sports coach, and you're looking to launch your speaking career, let me tell you, you need a book. If you're already out there speaking and you want to track more high paid speaking engagements, you need a book. It's not about creating more content to post on social media. It's not about recording a bunch of videos. It's not about doing more podcasts. The number one secret to attracting more high paid speaking engagements or even launching your speaking career is a book. Hey, I'm the publisher, Mr. Kelly Cole, and I help former athletes and sports coaches create best-selling books in 30 days to launch their speaking career, even if they hate writing and don't know where to start. So for the first time ever, I've created a free case study video that will not only show you how to write a book from scratch in as little as 30 days and become a best-selling author, it will also show you how to attract more high-paid speaking engagements. Now, to check out this free case study video, click the link that says learn more or go to booksforathletes.com. Real quick before you go, do not go if you're not a former athlete or sports coach, because you won't find any value in what I'm about to share. And don't go if your book is already out and already on Amazon. You won't find any value in what I share over there. But if you are a former athlete or sports coach, know that you need a book, or already out there speaking and you want to launch your speaking career, go check out that link now. Writing a book is not as hard as you think. It doesn't even matter if you don't know where to start. My case study video will show you how to start and get it done and onto the bestsellers list. So go now.
Welcome to the Books for Athletes podcast with your host, the publisher, Mr. Kelly Cole. Mr. Cole, a former athlete and best-selling author himself, has set out to take you behind the scenes of some of sports' forgotten heroes. He sits down with former professional athletes, college athletes, and sports coaches as they share stories of triumph, defeat, dedication, and perseverance. Here's Kelly.
Right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Books for Athletes podcast. I'm here with a special guest, Miss Shanteal Davis. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Did I pronounce your name right?
Yeah, yes, you did, and that's impressive. But yeah, you did. You got it right on the dot.
Cool. So, new author, name of your book, Behind the Smile. Tell the people real quick, what does Behind the Smile mean? What does that mean?
So for me, Behind the Smile, a lot of times people will say they always can recognize me by my smile or they recognize me by my laugh. So that always kind of seems like I'm always joyful, always kind of happy, and Behind the Smile is like, I wanted to take a deeper dive or let people take a deeper dive into my life when things are not going great. I think I've definitely had a whole lot more rougher times than people anticipate, because I do smile a lot, I do laugh a lot, I do kind of have this shell of I kind of put off this persona that everything's always good, when everything is definitely not always good. And so Behind the Smile, it's honestly a title I thought about when my mom said I was going to write a book when I was 10. And so that title kind of stuck with me, because even at a young age, I was always kind of really, really big on not showing emotion, not showing, hey, I'm struggling. So that was kind of where it was. And then Behind the Smile is what actually goes on behind, the times that I am saying it's okay when it's really not.
Gotcha. So where did that come from at an early age, you not wanting to show your true feelings or what's really going on? Where do you think that came from?
So I only have an older brother. And so I think, a lot of times, I would only really, there was not really a lot of girls in our neighborhood. So I would really be in my, I'd be around my brother all the time. So, I personally, I never really saw my mom cry a lot. I never really saw, unless it was kind of something big happening. When my grandma passed away, it was probably one of the few times I've actually seen my mom cry. Unless, or now, if it's recently, it's more of her crying out to God and things like that. So, but for me personally, every time I saw someone crying, I connected crying with a weakness, so I didn't understand that, sometimes you need a good cry, or I didn't understand that it's okay to cry. To me, in my mind, it was, um, don't cry because you have to be tough all the time. And so I definitely had a hard shell. I still do. It's softer than what it was when I was younger, but I always wanted to make sure that people knew that I was, or thought that I was okay. And so when that happened at a young age, like when my parents going through a divorce, all this kind of stuff, like for me, it's very important for me to just kind of keep things rolling, keep things going, and not really be able to stop. And so then when I stop, that's when the smile kind of falters, because then I'm like, okay, I've really got to deal with some of this stuff. So, but at a young age, I always was just like, if I'm crying, like I'm weak. And so, I would also, okay, I was like I said, growing up.
Hold on, you muted yourself.
Sorry.
Okay.
I grew up a little bit more tomboyish instead of like girly, and so like it just every time like I wasn't around. I just didn't feel like crying was something necessary for me. I felt like I could just tough it out and do that. And like I said, a lot of times the stuff that happened in my life, like I just was just tough it out, tough it out, tough it out, and I didn't really feel like I had time to actually settle and cry. So no, I just not showing emotions was something that I just kind of developed over time. And then I felt like I didn't want to talk about it either. So it kind of felt like when I talked about it, I felt like I was a burden. So therefore, I just was like, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to show emotions. I'm not going to do anything like that. So that's kind of how it ended up. And then I would just make sure I cover everything up with a smile.
Gotcha. So one of the things you talked about in the book was your parents' divorce. And you actually said in the beginning you blamed your mom. Why is that? Why did you feel like you blamed your mom for your parents' divorce?
Because because to me, honestly, like my mom was like never. I want to say this. My dad was not really around a ton. And so like I was always with my mom. And so it was always me, my mom, my brother. And I just, when they announced the divorce, I know that I had been praying as a kid, like, don't let it happen, don't let it happen, God, don't let it happen. And when it happened, I just kind of was like, wait a minute. And so when my dad told me, like, I didn't know I didn't know what my dad had been doing. Like, I didn't know, like, the stuff that my mom put up with behind the scenes. Like, I didn't know, like, me and my brother were pretty much oblivious to all the details of, like, why everything broke down. And so, I mean, obviously we know more now, but still we don't know everything, too. I mean, my mom protected us a lot. And so by me not knowing, anything, I think I just jumped to that conclusion, and I was like, okay, well, it must be my mom. My mom must be unhappy. My mom must not want to be here. And when it actually turned out to be the complete opposite, like I love my dad, but, like there was a lot of things that went down that were very detrimental to our family. And so I didn't really understand it until later. But I think, my dad was the one that kind of came in. He was the one that kind of told us, and he was also kind of the one that comforted me first, kind of came in and was trying to, kind of soothe the moment and things like that. But then I think after that, then kind of finding out more of why, that kind of flipped the switch for me. And then I realized I was like, okay, like my mom did the absolute best she could. And like my dad, like I said, I always loved him, and he is, still very influential in my life. And I get to see him more and stuff now. But my dad at that time, like, and I can't also say, like, I can't say my mom didn't do anything. I don't know all the details, but like, I do know a big reason why was because of things that my dad did. So therefore, like, I think I jumped at my mom first. And then afterwards, once I started learning more, I was like, oh, like my mom actually protected me, and she actually like is the reason why I'm here and the reason why, I'm safe. So, I mean, not that my dad was dangerous or anything, but just like the reason why, like, she was a backbone. Basically, she was just a backbone of everything, of like, me making practice, me, continuing to do well in school, me doing, like, she was just taking me across the country to play travel ball. I mean, like, she was just that backbone for me.
Gotcha. Good stuff. Great transition. So where did your love for basketball come about?
So that actually kind of stems from my brother. So like I said, when I was younger, I wanted to do everything my brother did. he played baseball, and I've always said if I played another sport, I'd probably play softball. But now that I've like been outside in this heat, I probably would not have played softball for very long. But I think playing softball, and then he did karate. I wanted to do karate, but I wasn't allowed to do karate, and so my brother played basketball, and so I was like, all right. So I always wanted to get out there and play with him, and then everything was. My mom was always like, no, like, or my dad, and they were like, no, because I was a girl and like I was younger, and so I mean, like me and my brother are 4 years apart, so like it wasn't like I was like just a year younger. Like I was kind of significantly younger, playing, So, and so for me, I kind of started to like it. My mom played in high school, so it's always kind of been in the blood, and so we first started. I'm from South Carolina, so we couldn't play in the sixth grade. I did upward in the fifth grade, and everybody was like, "Where'd you get your skill from?" And I was just like, "My mom." Even though I didn't know what skill they were talking about. I'm like, I'm in the fifth grade, just hopefully dribbling the basketball, hoping the ball gets up to the rim. I don't know, and so then I kind of was like, okay, I really want to do this. And then the sixth grade, because we couldn't play, I just became the manager. So I was a manager for that time, that whole year. Really fell in love with it, and then I worked my tail off to become the starting point guard or my seventh grade year. So it really kind of, and then it just became like this obsession, which was positive and negative in both ways. My negative is, I started to not really see myself as teal. I just kind of was like, I just play basketball, but also positive in a way that I found something that I was really, really passionate about. And so since I was really, really passionate about it, it's opened a lot of doors for me recently. So, and so it all kind of came in a big circle for me. But that passion, it really kind of stemmed from my brother, and obviously me and my brother are very competitive against each other. So he pushed me to be better, and I tried my best to push him to be better. So.
Yo, what up? It's your girl JC, and listen, I have to send a special shout out to my guy, Mr. Kelly Cole, and the entire team at Publishing Advantage Group and Books for Athletes. They took so great care of me to the point that I know I'm the pickiest person. This book was supposed to have been finished last summer. However, there were some details that I needed to make sure that the book had because my audience needed it. And, when it comes down to feeding and serving the people, especially as a former athlete and telling your story, you cannot be selfish with the material and give it away. And they worked with me from the time of my thought process to the time of conception, all the way down to now, top 20 hot release best-selling author on Amazon in 24 hours. Listen, if you're an athlete, you have a story to tell, and you don't know how to put it in book form just yet, don't worry, you're not alone, okay? Hit my guy, Mr. Kelly Cole, and tell him what you're trying to do, and I promise you he gonna get you right, all right? And of course, check me out on Amazon after the season. Shout out to the Books for Athletes family.
So when did you realize you can actually go to college and play basketball, and how was that feeling?
I think I started really realizing that it was always my goal. I think as a freshman in high school, and then like we had a presentation, and it was kind of like, what do you want to be? And I was like, I want to be a WNBA player. I was like, I want it, and of course at that time you're looking up their salaries, you're like, whoa. But like I wanted to play. I got to my sophomore year of high school, and so sophomore year of high school, I played JV pretty much most of my ninth grade career. Our team was stacked. I mean, like we had a Division I point guard who's probably one of my best, like one of my biggest mentors. She's one of my favorite teammates I've ever played with because of how she pushed me in practice and things like that. Now she's a high school coach, and she's doing really, really well for herself. And so watching her grind, and I know like I kind of started to notice like when it would be like, okay, if we have open gym, like it's optional, like, but me and her are the ones that are showing up, me and her are the ones that putting extra time in. Her dad's kind of pushing me to be like, hey, like you can play at the next level. And so but honestly, my sophomore season wasn't super great for me personally mentally. I don't think I was not as mentally tough as I needed to be to take the coach that we had that year. And so I personally know that kind of, I really kind of struggled with that. So honestly, after my sophomore year, I almost quit basketball. There was a lot of pressure and a lot of things that I felt, and oh my gosh, people are just cannot operate. Okay. All right. but it is but that it's something important. Sorry, see now I mean lost my train of thought. Anyways, my point is, and so anyways, so I almost quit and stuff like that, and then I was like, I don't want to move school, stuff like that. We had a coaching change and things like that, so it actually worked out for me. But I knew I wanted to play, and I knew I really, really wanted to play when I started getting hurt, and was just like, no, I got to play, I got to play, I got to play, and I never really took care of my body the way that I should have. So I'm that's kind of when I really knew. I was like, okay, I'm super passionate about this. But then it was also like when I started to really realize like I'm going to play. But like it was the moments of like I'm going to the track by myself. I'm going to the weight room by myself. I'm going to go shoot by myself. And then I got a trainer my sophomore year. That also helped me a ton too. So like also it was really, really big for me to realize like when I started putting the work in, when I started to do things like that, like I know.
You muted yourself again.
Anyways. Oh my goodness gracious. You see my phone anyways. But I think it was really that was kind of when I realized I was like when I started putting that extra time and the extra effort that I was on the right track to really try to play at the next level.
Dope. So where did you get a scholarship to what school did you go to? What college did you go to?
So I went to Milligan University. Well, it was Milligan College at the time when I went. I got a scholarship there. So I knew God wanted me to move out of state because I didn't have a single offer in state. So I was like, all right. And he was just like, you know, you're going to play. And so I moved to Northeast Tennessee to play college basketball. Like I said, I was at Milligan. I played for a while. And so, yeah, I got on scholarship to play. And I was there for 4 years. It was rocky 4 years, but I was there for my entire career.
Awesome. And was it rocky because of your injuries or what made it rocky for you?
Yeah, no, definitely because of my injuries. I mean, people were really great. I mean, I had one of the best, like my roommate was one of the best humans I've ever met in my entire life. You know, like, classes wise, killed it. I mean, humbly, but killed it. You know, like but I came to basketball, like, and that's what I was there for. You know, like I moved to Tennessee to play basketball, and I couldn't. I took a whole year not to. Like took a whole year off, and then I took a, you know, and then I had to miss games, to miss practice. So like it was just I never got to fully experience the full college experience of playing basketball. Sometimes just because like I would hurt, or you know, I was on a no practice, but I would play and I would go like when I would in practice, I'd play and then, you know, limp off the court. Okay, the next day, ice, no practice, and I'd play. And it was a constant mental and physical battle. And it was also rough because I also was diagnosed with anxiety and depression the same, like the year, I would say probably the year before I took off from playing basketball. So like, you know, now I'm going through medications. Now I'm going up and down. Okay, what's my doses? What do I need work? What works? What makes my body freak out? Which, you know, like, do I need to take half a pill? Do I need to take full pill? Like, you know, what am I going to do to pick myself up on those bad days or those days that feel like, you know, like I don't want to be here. I don't feel like I need to, I don't want to be in class. I want to be you know, the days I don't want to get out of bed, was like, between that and then just my body, I was so frustrated because my body didn't physically and mentally work right. Like mentally I was, you know, I didn't have the right serotonin. Like I was just, you know, I just was missing something. And then basketball wise, it was just like anything I tried, I'd sit out, I'd get healthy, or I think I get healthy, I go back, next thing you know, I'm in more pain than I thought. It was a big roller coaster for me through college.
Gotcha. And so you speak a lot about your faith. You touched on your faith. Where did your faith foundation come from, and how did you get to know the Father so deeply?
So my faith foundation definitely came from my mom. My mom was huge as far as like, golly, she was huge as far as like, she knew me, but also like there was not a time where she felt like, that she, I don't know, like, I guess the best way to put it is that my mom's response to everything was always God.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Tyler Campbell, and I am the author of The Ball Came Out, Life on the Other Side of the Field, brought to you by none other than the Publishing Advantage Group, Kelly Cole, and the entire team. Let me tell y'all something about them. Listen, they are there to help you. They really want to see you win. They want to help you get that message out. And collectively, as a team, you never feel like you're alone. There's no such thing as a bad question. They know the industry so well that they help you convey the message that will feed the masses of individuals that you come across. My book is #2 new release book on Amazon already, and it's already an Amazon bestseller. I hadn't even been a full week yet. All right. These individuals know what they know about the industry, and they share it with you, right? And they only want to see you win. You're handled with care. Make your book a bestseller today and go with the Publishing Advantage Group. They want nothing but the best for you.
There was never like well, we got to go do this. It was always like pray. Like that was her first thing is pray. Her first thing was prayer. Her first thing was, did you, even like if I struggle with something, she's like, did you talk to God? Did you pray about it? Did you do this? Like, my mom's like, she's not. And then like, I think there's times too, like, like where if our lights got cut off or if, we didn't have the bill, like the money for certain things, like my mom's, like you hear her like on her knees, like crying out to God and like, something's got to give. And we've never not been provided for. Now, did we ever get, we've not been able to live some luxurious life or anything like that, but we've always been provided for it. And so that's something that's very important. Always important to note. And then my relationship with Christ got deeper when I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression. It got deeper over the years because it's one thing to kind of know your faith and, go to church and things like that because of your parents. But when you're actually in those situations and you realize, hey, I wouldn't be here today without Christ, like, then it's like, oh, okay, like, no, this is what my mom's talking about. This is why she relies so much on him. It's not, it's not just because her mom did it, or it's like, no, like, my mom's been through some stuff and I've also been through some stuff. And so she's been a perfect example for me of like how I need to continue to rely on and rely on people and rely on Christ more than anything. And so God definitely showed me, like, he was like, it was always kind of like I would always try to, and I still do it. I still have a bad habit of it, but it's like I always try to find the answer for myself. I'm always like, what's my answer? Like, what's the like? Till, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And God's constantly like, hey, like he's telling us to be still. He's constantly telling us like, watch me and or listen and not be so eager to take things into my control because I can't, and so God's constantly showed me that I'm not in control, which is great because I know that if I was, my life would be way of a mess. But he's shown me that regardless of whatever the issue is with me, he's always going to be there, and regardless of my struggles, regardless of my decisions, regardless of anything like that, he's always constantly there. He never, and I always like to say, it's like, the analogy is like, it's like, okay, it's, like, if someone gets mad at you, like they can fold their arms, like kids especially, they get mad at you, they'll fold their arms to turn away from you. They're like, I don't want to deal with you. Like, God's constantly like, okay, that hurt, ow, maybe, but like his arms never close. He's always constantly like, come back. And so, to serve somebody who is just always relentlessly and, just consistently and always after my heart, regardless of how the choices I make, it makes it very easy to serve him and to want to do things for him because of the relationship that we continue to build and the one that we continue to get stronger at. And like I said, I'm not perfect. Some days I miss things, sometimes, and I read the Bible all the time, and, I'm trying to work on getting consistent with prayer and things. Like, I always tell my kids that. I was like, I'm not perfect, or the kids I work with. I was like, I'm not perfect, but my thing is I'm trying to strive my best to live a life of Christ so that it's like, you don't have to, you can look at my life and be like, okay, well, what would Till do? Or like, if you say, hey, what would Till do? It most likely is going to follow something of what in the line of what God would do. And that's kind of the life that I really want our kids to have. Or that's the model I want our kids to have. It's someone that they can look up to, but also they look up to someone bigger than me because of the actions that God has allowed me to do.
That's good. So you touched on it briefly. How do you serve now, and what are the kids you're speaking of? How do you serve in ministry now?
So I do a couple different things in ministry. So I coach. Had no idea I was going to ever coach. ever. I coach basketball, so I coach at Providence Academy. I also coach travel ball, so Team Unlimited. We doubled in size this year. We've got 3 girls teams. We're doing pretty good. Our biggest thing is helping these kids get offers and things like that. But it's Christian ministry, so we pray with them, do devotions, things like that. And so we've got 15 juniors this year. We've got 11 of them with offers so far, so that's pretty good. And we haven't even hit like the big July period yet. So it's just a blessing, and God's continuing to open opportunities for them. And then like within that, it's under a nonprofit called Unlimited Youth. Unlimited Youth is about empowering our youth through Christ education and basketball. So we do, we do book scholarships, ACT prep. We do, I will work with like organizations in the area. For instance, like we help Girls Inc. a lot, and do different things like that to make sure the kids feel unlimited because they have what they need. And so we do like different things like that. I train kids. So I'm constantly in the gym training kids and mentoring and praying with them. And like last week I was in Alabama. I mentor a kid in Alabama, mentor a kid in Kentucky, mentor a kid in North Carolina. So I'm constantly on the go. I'm a big believer when God says go, you go. And like sometimes people is like if they're called to go overseas. I think I'm called to, my ministry is called to be in states and stuff. So I do a lot of different things. God allows me to do a lot of different things like that. And so between training, I work with FCA, so I do a lot of stuff with the women's ministry and like the girls up here, like especially during softball season, basketball season, things like that. So a lot of different avenues that all kind of lead to one king. So, but it's just being able to have multiple avenues to serve different kids is really cool.
That's dope. All right, real quick. So, how did you feel when you saw that you hit number 5 on the bestsellers list? What was that feeling like?
That was awesome. Like I was like, people bought the book. Like, I mean, like, I was, and like, I think it's like, too, is like, I was trying to just be like, I wrote a book. I mean, I got it, but like, it was just like, people bought it and people still bought it. And the reviews have been great. I mean, I got a text message yesterday, from my mom who just read it. And so it was really cool. And I was also like really glad to get some good feedback because personally, like, I am vulnerable in that book. I talk about some things I haven't talked about before ever. Probably like I probably mentioned my biggest secret on page 1. So, so that's something that's something that was like huge. And I was like, wow, like, like I knew people supported me in the community, but that was kind of like like people wanted to read it and they wanted to connect with me more on a different basis and to kind of feel like they knew me more than just a trainer or just someone that their kid sees for an hour. And things like that. So it was really, really, it was honestly, it was very, very, it was surprising, but it was very unique and very, and it pushed me. And like I said, it was great. I enjoyed it. I was shocked, but I was also like, I mean, when God continues to give you blessings, at one point you feel like you need to stop being shocked, but that's just how He works. So, so it was fantastic. It was a great surprise.
Hey, what's going on, man? It's Dennis Haley. I am the author of the playbook, The Art of Dreaming. Just want to say a special thank you to Kelly Cole and the Publishing Advantage Group team. Man, they were with me from day one until the time I finished and still with me to this day. What a blessing to have them be with me and to walk me through this journey and to be a part of this journey. They have been nothing but class acts and they know what they're talking about. And just again, it is a blessing to be a part of this team and for them to guide me down the path to success. So thank you for everything that you have done. I look forward to many more projects with you guys and continue to be a blessing to many. Thank you.
For me, for sure.
Dope. And I think it's dope that it hit number 5, which is the number for grace. Like you said, you just opened up the book. You came in hot. I was like, oh, she going there. So I ain't gonna give it away. They got to go read it. So, but that's good. All right. Last question. Well, next to last question. What was it like working with us? And would you recommend other athletes work with us to get their book done?
Oh, absolutely. It was super smooth. Super, super smooth. I didn't have to do much. I mean, I wrote the book, but far as like any corrections, anything like I was like, hey, can we add this? Can we do this? Like you guys were very much like we can do. You basically was like tailored it to me and was like we can do whatever you want to make this for you. And so it came out great. And so no, it was seamless. I mean, there was no hiccups. There was no I felt like if I needed to like say, hey, I would rather do it this way, you guys are gonna be all right, cool, on board. And not, I would highly recommend it. I mean, it was fantastic. It was a fantastic experience. I would do it again. I'd recommend it to as many people as I can. Like it was definitely a phenomenal experience for me for sure.
Awesome. All right, last question. Where can the people follow you, contact you to speak, and get training from you and things like that? So give me your contact info.
Contact info. I'll go with social media first. On Instagram, Teal511, TEAL, like the color. On Twitter, we've got a couple different ones. If you want to keep up with the girls and Unlimited and Team Unlimited, their Twitter is Team Unlimited 16. And then my training is at Edition EDITION training. And then I've got a couple of different accounts, but they're for a couple of different things. I got to help with recruiting and do that kind of stuff too. But those are kind of my main two Twitters. Email would be unlimited, and then G as in Grace, Edition EDITION @gmail.com. And that's kind of the best ways to kind of hit me. And like I said, and then kind of go from there. But I guess I'm super excited to connect with anybody, and see how we can continue to grow God's kingdom.
Good stuff. Last thing I'm gonna get you to do. So if there's a young person watching this and they're struggling, like they're just struggling mentally or just struggling to keep going, what's a message or a word you would give them?
As I would say to focus on the truth and not on the voice in your head. The voice in your head, a lot of times we are like, okay, like I'm telling, when I was going, I mean, like I said, I still do it. Sometimes, like if I don't play a good game, I'm like, I'm not good enough. I didn't do that right. Or I will beat myself up for a lot of different things. But like the voice in my head is saying I'm not good enough is not the voice. That's not my voice. It sounds like me, but it's the enemy. It's not from Christ. And so the truth is that I'm God's masterpiece. I am, I have to treat my body like a temple. The truth is that I am saved. I am redeemed. Those are the truths, and those, you can find from the Bible. And so I think when you're in those times, like you have to constantly focus on what's true and not what you think is true or what's good and what mentally you're going to try to tell yourself. Because at the end of the day, like what you think is not necessarily how we think, and how God thinks in completely different ways. And so when you feel down or when you feel like things aren't going your way, realize that the plan is greater than you can ever imagine. Like everything I'm doing right now is not supposed to be doing, and based off me. And God has shown me that He had a plan for me to make sure that I'm happier than I ever would have thought I was going to be. And so even the days that I don't feel like getting out of bed, those days become less. So I would say focus on the truth and try, and not on the voice that's in your head, but also to give yourself grace. God gives us a renewing grace and mercy every day. So don't feel like you had to put yourself so high up on a pedestal to be perfect and to not receive grace, because at the end of the day, the only person that's perfect is Christ. And so we strive to be like Him, but we'll never be Him. So give yourself some grace. You're going to mess up. You're going to make mistakes, but make sure they're lessons. You turn those things into lessons instead of feeling like it's a punishment. And I think that that's something really important, and to have fun too. Like, we have rules, we have things we're supposed to follow, but have fun and understand that like the life that God gave you is the one He gave you, and He gave it to you for a reason. You always have a purpose. You always have meaning, and you matter. You will always matter. That's
good. Can't close it out no better than that. Pray you have an amazing day. Let me know if I can do anything for you. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Take care. Listen, thanks so much for checking out this episode of the Books for Athletes podcast. Do me a favor, please like, comment, subscribe, and share this episode. We want to help more athletes tell their story. We want to help more athletes get their story out. So if you could support this podcast, all I need you to do is like, comment, share, and please subscribe to my channel so we can grow on YouTube and start monetizing this channel. All right. If you prefer to listen, we're on all podcast listening platforms as well. Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. Wherever you are, please like, subscribe, comment, and please share this episode with someone. I appreciate you. I'll see you on the next one.